Fun to kind of mix it all up. And I think throughout the entirety today, we actually do mix it up as each match goes on. As in the bottom right, I'm going to start off this one with the red Protoss player in the PvZ, representing Mystery Gaming and pausing it up. Well, it actually wasn't him pausing it up, so never mind. We'll take a moment. This, I can tell you right now exactly what this is. This is where Silky forgot to set his hotkeys on his new account, even though he got told, because this happens every season. I swear down. Silky does this every time. It might not be.
I always see it every. No, go ahead.
I mean, it might not be, but like, I feel like every time we start a season, Silky always has to pause in the first game.
That's so funny, though, because I feel like every single time I'm at a StarCraft tournament, right? As soon as the players switch to a new computer or whatever, we always see them play at least a custom game real quick, either against no opponent or the easy AI or something like that, just to double check if everything is okay. But I guess sometimes you just want to get into the game as quickly as you can, and. Well, usually whenever I have to personally switch my hotkey profile, I have about 17 hotkey profiles that all have very similar names with very minute differences, and I never really know exactly which one I need to choose. So maybe he's running into the same issue here.
Yeah. Maybe. Looks as though it'll just be a couple of moments, but yeah, Silky capable of taking out Cyan, but I do feel like Cyan has been leveling up lately. To me, one of the players that can absolutely compete at the top of this region alongside an Oliveira, alongside a Firefly. You know, a Coffee on a good day, absolutely as well. You know, to me, Cyan should be looking to top 4 this event, if not higher. Which puts the kind of pressure on Silky here in round 1, as apparently he is okay, which means we should be able to get this one going again in just a second, everybody, and get back in game for you guys here for match number 4, map number 1 here today, as referee says go. So once we're unpaused, we'll take you straight back in.
Alrighty. Oceanborn to start things off with. Very popular map overall. Nothing all too crazy on this one.
Game resumed.
Mapu apparently had the powers here.
Mapu takes charge. He's like, the referee ain't doing it. I got you, boys. He is just so excited to do the little spin as we have in the bottom right. It is in fact the red Protoss player from Mystery Gaming, Cyan.
And his opponent, all the way in the opposite corner with the blue Zerg pieces, it's Silky. Good old Protoss versus Zerg.
PvZ. Fun matchup.
Forced to take the third base.
Wow, Protoss is so good.
Yeah.
He's one probe can block an entire hatchery, man. It's unreal.
It's incredible. It is interesting though, because a lot of Zerg players have been opting for that 15 hatch style. I think it's personally very good, but some players just don't really want to play it all too frequently, especially on a map like this. I guess you don't really absolutely need to, but I always kind of feel like being forced to take your third base as your first expansion just makes the game more complex, and suddenly you're a little bit more scared of, say, for example, like an adept follow-up or something along those lines, because everything's just going to be a little disconnected. It always makes me a bit uncomfortable. I know it really doesn't happen at the pro level, that it's, you know, too strange of a thing, because everybody's played this a million times, but personally, I much prefer having the natural.
Yeah, this is it's very true, right? It's one of those things where it's like, for a while people are like, was it worth it, was it not? A lot of the time it is kind of just worth kind of getting that block off, and then Zerg's like, well, you know, now we take an earlier hatchery, we just get the natural on location, we don't have to deal with the kind of distance or anything like that. Let's just see this drone moving about and a probe heading to the upper left side.
Absolutely. Just gonna scout it out. So the norm in this particular matchup is for Protoss to go into that Stargate opener. I'm fully expecting that here from Cyan in just a moment. Adepts together with Oracles have been very popular recently, I mean, the last couple years, really. So we do have the Twilight Council the Stargate right now coming up. We do sometimes see that Twilight Council transition instead, but lately we've seen more of those Adepts harassing, right? There's been quite a few of them shading around the map, and for example, groups of 5 a little bit later. Even without glaives, they can still deal a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As you have a couple lings here, I'm just going to move about and going to go after that probe. Would love to get a catch on that, as the probe does get the pylon down, just to delay on the natural by a few moments longer. The Stargate is getting close to finishing. And looking very standard. The pylon blocks long enough for the Adept to get here, which means a ling goes down, and a drone cannot become the hatchery for even longer. So good play from Cyan, just making Silky's life difficult in these early stages, if absolutely nothing else.
I really like this from Cyan, though, because it just makes the game so much more complex. Suddenly we have all those lings off creep. They're slow lings as well. Sure, eventually there will be a base mate here, and it really shouldn't matter all too much, assuming Zerg handles everything perfectly. It's just that it's very easy to slip up. Luckily for Silky, though, he did put down that, for example, that creep tumor, and he's going to be able to connect all of this eventually, and it doesn't look like he's really made any critical errors, but just complicating the game, you know? That's really what Protoss is looking for here.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. As the Oracles start popping, they're going to be the map control. They're going to be the way to apply any amount of pressure here for the foreseeable future. So definitely be keeping our eyes on those as one Overlord goes around that right side. A couple of depths come out from the bottom. These lings are still just chilling out to that left-hand side as well, so they're just waiting there, but the adepts move out. They're going to continue to commit across for the moment.
Good movement right there on the queens. Adepts in the meantime thinking about maybe making a bit of a slide towards the left side of the map. Third Nexus coming up at about the 4-minute mark. Nothing all too crazy over there, considering he warped in some additional adepts. That is the normal time for certain. All right, let's see. So far, not a whole lot of workers killed yet, right? So we are, yeah, literally at 0 drones killed at this point in time. Cyan is going to look for a little more than that here over the next minute or two.
It would be really nice to get rid of some workers. The earlier you get them, the more effective it is. If you don't get any, then Zerg really feels as though they've had a successful early game, and then they're really going to power up through to the next stage of the game as well. So let's see how that pans out as the revelation comes down. A couple of these creep tumors getting caught. The lings still looking for the wraparound as the adepts do shade away. We've got one queen here as well. Just going to go pick off an adept moving in. The Oracle gets a couple drones, but honestly, overall, not a bad defense. We do not get one more drone there. So yeah, good cleanup, honestly, across the board.
Yeah, no, absolutely. At this point, you don't really have much of an opportunity to harass anymore as Protoss either, because there's all those Zerglings out. I mean, obviously, the Oracles can still fly around, but they haven't really achieved that much, with one of them going down as well. Now it's going to be Protoss who needs to sit back here for a moment. You never really know exactly how much aggression is coming. Silky, as a matter of fact, is just mass droning at this point in time. But very soon we enter that lair stage of this matchup, right? Where suddenly, well, in the early game, Zerg is pretty predictable as far as what they will do. But suddenly in the mid game, they have a dozen different options available. And all of them are powerful. Another Oracle falls, Wardy. That's not what you're looking for at all.
Nope, Oracle's going down, map control being lost, and this becomes more and more and more of a problem. So this is really becoming a bit nasty for Cyan, who gets, well, +1 on the forge, charge on the way. He's readying up his follow-up, but yeah, Silky is, you know, attacking up. The only thing for Silky is a little bit low on drones. To some extent, Silky doesn't mind that. Sometimes Silky is the guy where you kind of sit and he has the cast, and you're like, well, build 20 more workers, please, and you'd be in a good spot. But instead, he really likes to kind of sit at 60, so we'll see how much he does drone-wise from here, because he did just get to 60. And he's obviously got that tech coming up, and he is still building a few more. I'm just happy to see it, because, like I say, I've definitely been screaming at my monitor a few times when watching Silky in the past.
Well, if he's gonna go swarm host, and it kind of does look like that, considering he did make a very quick infestation pit, he doesn't really need that many of those drones. But
that's probably going to be
let's see what he decides to do.
That's probably the one time he makes more than like 70 workers. He's like, you know what?
It's like finally he goes 75. You're like, no, this is the only build. Well, he hasn't actually committed to anything yet, so we made a very quick infestation pit, but at Lair Tech, it's just been Glowery Constitution, so just roach speed for now. No Overlord prep either? Yeah, you realized oh, okay, well, Adept's sleeping on the job here. That's a bit unfortunate. Luckily, Silky, for Cyan's sake at least, decided to turn around and only run in with a few of those units. Anyways, the Swarmos here are ultimately coming, supply block or not. A little bit delayed than the original plan, but should still be okay.
Lings getting picked away at, the other Lings coming around. 2 workers going down so far. Zell's still charging, picking up that Ling again, and we do see the Swarm Host still in production, so 8 of them popping out. +1 missiles on the rogue speed continue to produce. Our Swarm Host still continue out into the center, and a couple of cannons on the way from Cyan as well. Just going to get those online next couple of moments.
Yeah, no Nidus with this, which is kind of interesting to me. Usually, at least from the top-level Zergs, usually whenever we do see them play Swarm Host, and it's not a very popular build right now, but they always accompany the Swarm Host with a Nidus Worm to try and send those units around the map. Instead, now Cyan is going to be the one who will try to be aggressive. He's got a whole load of charge slots, so at the very least he's going to try. At this point, the Swarm Host will also be scouted. I don't really mind this all too much for Cyan. The main problem usually you run into is that your army is just simply not big enough as Protoss, right? So Wow, that's perfect. Activating that first wave of Locust, running away. I mean, that's pretty much exactly what you're looking for right there as the Protoss.
Absolutely brutal for Silky, because now your Swarm hosts aren't effective for a while, and the longer the Protoss has to prep against Swarm hosts, the better off they are going to be against them, right? So that really is a dream situation as Oracle sets up another stage one in the center. These few Lings are going to get into a few Zealots, which turn around and fight against the Lings as well, so damage being done across the board. And you see Robo Facility in a second bay coming up as our Archon Stalker is going to be there to push the Swarm hosts away once more.
Yeah, without a Nidus Swarm, these units just don't feel nearly as good, because at least then, if you have to, like, use one of those Locust waves, at least you can still send them in the direction of a bunch of structures, right? Rather than just sort of awkwardly chase a bunch of units. A really good defense here so far for Cyan. So what Cyan is looking for is just a large army. That is his main goal right now. He wants to just make a whole lot of units, because the bigger his army becomes, the better he is going to be against that Swarm host force. Because you already mentioned it, those Swarm hosts are very, very supply heavy. You can't have a lot of workers with them, because they do take up so much of your supply. Now, this second wave is looking a little bit better, though.
Yeah, looking a little bit more hopeful. A few Zealots counterattacking during this as we drop the Archons down. We're going to lose the Temple Archives, but hey, there was nothing that was really building off of those apart from getting more up. Stasis Order catches. I mean, yeah, honestly, you could not really continue to have better defenses as Cyan. Okay, you lose the Temple Archives, but like I say, you know, we're going to just get that built back up. Maybe then get Storm on the way. You know, right now, we're focusing on Colossi as our splash damage, so the Temple Archives is not a huge factor in my eyes.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Another hatchery is building all the way up north. There is a Hydralisk den in this game. We do have a Hive, but there is, however, no Lurker den. So that's usually the transition Zerg players like to go for quite a bit. This kind of feels like an extended mid-game all-in right now, and the longer that this goes on, the less damage that these Swarm hosts deal, the more difficult it's going to be for Silky when this Protoss army does eventually go across the map. The ranged upgrade for the Colossus just about to finish. Another one just popped out of... Okay, there's a double Lurker den. That's, I guess, one way to solve that problem. But yeah, ultimately, more and more Robo units are popping out of those structures. I think if Cyan attacks within the next minute or two, he should be A-okay.
Yeah, no, if Cyan can just get across the map without letting the Swarm host pull him back too many times, I think his timing is looking absolutely beautiful, right? He's going to have a scary moment where the first round of Locust maybe drops on his army, but if the Colossi can deal with those, I think, like you say, he's in a pretty darn good spot to just take a fight. And right now, it doesn't feel like Silky's in position to kind of stop him from moving across the map, so Cyan's just going to get here, knock down a base. Prism already in the main base, causing some distractions as well, and I mean, Cyan is like you know, like you said, already looking good. Now these Swarms, they kind of have to turn, and they are going to start to do so. This might be the catch you've been looking for. The Colossi just going to run from the Swarm host. I mean, they just kind of came from an odd angle, honestly.
He's recalling home right now because those roaches were hiding in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. In the meantime, by the way, there has been a fleet beacon built as well by Cyan, so he is looking to make a transition here towards those Skytles units in a moment. Dark Templar are coming up too. Alright, looks like Silky actually managed to survive this phase in the game so far. And now he does have double upgrades coming for the Lurkers. Now that's that weird moment though, where you're kind of stuck playing a Roach Swarm host, and you kind of want to get rid of both, but you can't, because if you get rid of your army, then you don't have an army anymore, which is not ideal. But neither of these groups of units really, are units you want to have for the duration of the game anymore, or for the remainder of the game, rather. Okay, Hydras and Lurkers are coming up right now here for Silky.
Yeah, Hydra Lurker coming up. We actually give up as Silky. It feels like Micro in that bottom left Roach army. So that will go down. The Swarm host wave honestly got dealt with pretty well also. And now there's just Zealots in the main base that are causing issues. And as Hydra's spawn, not exactly looking great either.
Okay.
Cool idea, but the position doesn't really work, huh?
It was a good attempt. They all just wanted to hug together and, well, really get close to that Lurker den. Okay, now at least Cyan knows exactly what he's playing against, and, well, if you hadn't found out about it from seeing the structures, he would have seen the units over here. Good revelation, though, keeping that one Oracle alive. There's also now an Observer up in the sky. Mama Ship coming up on the back of this, too, here for Cyan.
So many Zealots just keep warping in. Cyan is really just rich. 82 workers is really a booming economy for him, and 9 Lurkers are morphing in the front lines. I mean, you see those right now as Cyan. You're just going to make a play to dive on them. You do not want those to get up, and he's going to deny each and every one of those Lurkers. There's a Lurker still at the top side. Do we have detection? Yes, we have an Observer, in fact, although now, did we dive a little bit too far? Cyan just keeps moving, and he will, in the end, lose absolutely everything as he gets wiped, as he just didn't stop.
No, I guess he saved the 2 Immortals, so that's kind of nice. That Prism coming in clutch near the end of that fight, but He saw an opportunity and he took it, and then he kept going, even though the opportunity, was already quite a bit gone. All right, so Mama Ship is just gonna pop in a moment. We have more Immortal production at home. There are going to be Archons, so I think ultimately Cyan should be okay. But it looks like we have another one of those games that could very well be flipped upside down. We've been casting a few of these here on the Asian region today already, and well, this could certainly be another one of those where, technically speaking, Cyan was just now in a game-winning position, but he threw away like 60 supply of his army for pretty much nothing.
Yup. No, that's a lot of losses as we see a couple of more still coming up. The Oracle coming through. Those 3 missiles is about to finish from Silky. I mean, at least Cyan rebuilt quickly, but still has to kind of sit back a little bit. That allows you to take positions like this one.
Cloak?
We dropped the time warp. Yeah, now we cloak as well because there's no actual detection here from Silky, so Cyan is going to be able to push this away as it goes running down the ramp, but he's even going to Prism Micro to get a couple extra kills at the end here. Love that for Cyan, as that is a good hold, and Silky is not rich. Silky can't really rebuild like Cyan can because he's only at that 66 worker count. Of course, Cyan can't necessarily push into those lurkers.
Well, you brought up the 66 drone count earlier in this game. You mentioned that usually Silky doesn't go past that point, and it looks like we have found our way in that, well, situation once again here too. Those Zealot run-bys really have been cleaned up well, but they have been dragging Silky all the way back home every single time. These units are also going to get cleaned up this time around. Cyan is now still sitting in the middle of the map, and assuming he has a prism with his army, which he does, he should be able to continue attacking very comfortably.
Yeah, he's going to have Storms ready soon. Storm upgrade itself is actually only halfway done, so it's not ready yet, but the full setup is pretty much there. You see a little Revelation going to go down on that group of lurkers as well, so keep an eye on this. I mean, the problem is we don't really have the range or the immediate splash on lurkers right now, like Colossi, Disruptors. Obviously, we're about to get Storm, and that will help. But I think that's what's missing for Cyan to really be able to find the opportunity to attack on in and to really kind of have a high impact engagement in these next few moments.
He just warped in an additional 4 Archons here, and Immortal is just about to pop. Cyan has brought all of the pieces together to one engagement, and that is going to be taking place right over here. Does Silky have enough to defend against this massive Protoss army? All of the Mothership cooldowns should be available. Time Warp goes down, and all of those lurkers are in a world of trouble. This is the first time he sees Sonic Storm, and it's right in the middle of all of his army. Beautifully played right here by Cyan in the end. I think it got a little sketchy when he, well, first off, jumped this unit composition. I mean, maybe this is gonna get cleaned up by the Zerg eventually, but he may be winning the fight, but I don't think he's winning the war.
Yeah, I'm not worried if this gets cleaned up. Silky has no rebuild potential where Cyan does, and he got rid of most of the tech units. Now there's 1 lurker left. The 2 Immortals here will absolutely smack anything in their way, and Cyan will be able to take victory here in game number 1. It took, like you say, a little bit of an effort and a little bit of a bump along the road, but we got there in the end, and that means that Cyan is up by 1 over Silky with this best of 3. Cool stuff from Silky, but overall felt like Cyan controlled it well. Just, again, maybe his own decisions got him closest to being in trouble than anything else.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that I don't think Silky is going to be all too happy about, right? Like when your main opportunity was your opponent making a mistake, that's usually not the way you want to play a game of StarCraft 2. Now, interestingly enough, game number 2 in this series is going to take place on Post-Youth, which is one of the strangest looking maps I think we've historically had in SC2, at least as far as the main base section goes. If you haven't seen it before, you'll see what I'm talking about in just a moment, because it always reminds me of a 2v2 map. But yeah, interesting style from Silky. I'm a little surprised he decided to go 66 drones and then just Swarm Host with roaches, but no Nidus Worm. There's a good reason why we normally do see the Nidus Worm accompanying those Swarm Hosts, but yeah, he wanted to play them straight up, and I think Cyan just handled that really well.
Yeah, no, I think he really did just handle it well. That's what it came down to in the end. As we get ourselves ready for this next map. Cyan and Silky going into Post-Youth, as you mentioned. We'll head into this and see how things are going to turn as we go into a very interesting map. I'm surprised this one has been played so much, but people seem to kind of feel like it's just sort of fine, which is interesting. It's cool to see people actually just trying these new kind of more intriguing maps and them not just being like insta-vetoed every single time. So I'm
with you. When I first saw this map making it through to the ladder tournaments and then, the ladder maps and then also the tournament maps, I kind of figured that this was going to be like one of those, okay, we'll maybe see it in a best of 5, a best of 7, but we've been seeing it in a surprising amount of best of 3s.
yeah, people seem to really like it, which is just, like I say, that's kind of cool, you know? That's good to see as we have in the bottom left side. Down a map, looking to bring it back. It is SSLT's Silky.
And his opponent, winning the first game in this series, he is Cyan. Although he's playing in red, just to clarify. Just to make it confusing for everybody.
Yeah, just to really confuse us all.
So here's the main base that I was talking about. It feels so weird to me. There's 2 ramps, a couple skinny mineral fields blocking that slightly wider than normal ramp, and then the main base has half golden minerals, and it's on the same level as it's all funky. It's all a little weird, but it's been actually totally fine. I also quite like how the gold base, like there's another gold base for both players, usually has been the 4th for both of them, but it's actually come into play quite a bit. I didn't think it was going to be that good of an expansion when I first saw the map because it's down on a low ground, and obviously, well, siege units usually have a grand old time shutting it down, but this has been a very dynamic map once again, just like the others that have been introduced, and yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. It's been a lot of fun to see this map develop as well.
Yeah, I decided to keep seeing all the new maps. Like, obviously these new maps, they come from a Team Liquid map contest where the idea was freestyle. The idea was to go crazy. So we kind of took the best of the crazy, and that's why we kind of only had 5 maps into the map pool as well, right? So you still have some of the more standard stuff around, and it's just made for a very so far fun map pool. Obviously it takes a little while for us to know for sure, like, you know, is stuff balanced, just, you know, is this map pool specifically very good for one race or another, but so far I think the main thing is it's just diverse, and I think that's a combination of A, the map pool, and B, the fact that we just have these 9 maps available now instead of 7. Such a positive change.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. We've had now 9 maps in the map pool for maybe like, I don't know, a half year, a little over a half year, and it's been one of the best changes actually, I think, for the competitiveness of this game in general. I mean, if our goal is to figure out who the best strategy player is, I think having more map variety is an excellent choice. I also think it just is more interesting, not just as far as players go, but also for viewers and maybe for casters too, although obviously we are at the bottom end of the interest here. But it's been a lot of fun to just see these maps develop and to see more and more strategic variety as Silky has decided to, well, aim for, I guess, 9 golden mineral fields here early on.
This is something that a lot of people are trying to do on this map. They just do go towards and accelerate into that gold base, so Silky going to be doing that, but I tell you what, Cyan's build choice, I think, is absolutely spot on to deal with this. Twilight Council early, that means you're going to be pressuring on the ground quickly. That's the exact thing you want to punish someone that's expanding further afield than they're meant to be. If this was a Stargate, it's like, oh cool, well I put a queen or 2 on this base, a queen or 2 on that base, and I'm defended. Against Glaives, it's a way more complex situation now, so this is perfect for Cyan to be able to stop Silky from getting set up with the greed that he's looking for.
Absolutely. This is a very disconnected Zerg, right? All of those bases are, well, I guess the main and the, I don't even really want to call it a natural. The main base and then that second hatchery inside of the main base, those are connected, but that third, that golden base that he's taking is very, very far away. It's going to be difficult to defend against this from the for the Zerg player for sure, but Adepts are soon going to be moving across.
Yep.
He doesn't have a robo facility with this, by the way. It's just going to be, I guess, warping it at home.
Yeah, just warping it at home, wandering across the other side. I like it. As a few more Adepts continue to come through, that Glaives is coming by as well, so we get all of that on the way. And, yeah, Rotron coming up, a few more drones and Lings and the Queen coming about. The Adepts will be moving into the center, and right now there's not a lot of Lings available, and if the first few Lings donate themselves on these Adepts like that, this really ain't good. Multiple Lings going down for no need there, and already drones are evacuating the gold, and a couple of them going down as well. These Adepts will sit here, kill a Queen. I mean, this is already a win for Cyan in my eyes. He's stopping a gold base, he's stopping a third hatchery for mining. Yeah, he's got to love this all together right now.
Absolutely. The only way Zerg can really defend this is with overwhelming unit numbers, right? Like, that's his best way of doing it. Because road speed is not even remotely close to finishing, because we need a lair for that, and that one hasn't started up yet. So if this would have been a Dark Templar follow-up, which it isn't, that could have been, well, basically the end of this series. Instead, it's going to be charged on the back of this. 5 additional gateways as well. We have the +1 ground weapons researching for Protoss. I mean, Cyan is improving his lead. He didn't decide to go for the Dark Templar follow-up, which That's a pretty uncommon follow-up, I guess, all things considered, but would have worked out perfectly for him here. He didn't really want to take the chance, but he's still not even remotely done here with the Adepts.
Nope, these Adepts are going to try and come back in, and well, we'll continue to shade back down the bottom where Ling Roach is going to be settling. And these Adepts this time do get caught, so this is a pretty big deal as these Adepts get captured. We're just going to have ourselves a cleanup, and Silky will push this back, take some map control back. Cyan just needs to be able to defend because Silky is making nothing but units. 31 drones. Cyan just desperately needs to get units out right now. The +1 will help, the charge will help. All of this will help. We just need the numbers.
Yep, Silky is completely all in right now. Luckily for him, though, charge slots kill everything here for the Zerg. +1 is finishing up. Charge is 10 seconds away. As long as those upgrades are done, I think he should be all right. It's going to be very difficult to land proper corrosive biles against units like that. In the meantime, there's a Stalker making itself look very wide on the top of that ramp. Good wrap around so far, but the Zealots did back up, at least somewhat, to the safety right there of that battery.
Yeah, we're going to want more Zealots in from the main base as well. And honestly, Zealots are fairly tanking this situation. The problem is now going to be the Roaches, right? Because you don't have Blink or anything. You open Glaives. Glaives, Charge. Both not exactly the best against Roaches, especially if you just don't have enough numbers. Going to charge in now before any reinforcements get here, and this may give you an opportunity assigned to defend. He's up 20 workers, so really in a fantastic spot. There's Ravager's getting caught in the corner. That is going to be a defense. That is going to be a hold. Plus Adepts on the other side, getting a couple of workers here and there, and this is looking beautiful here for Cyan.
Absolutely. His economy right now is booming. Silky decided to take a chance. He really wanted to get that golden base going here as quickly as possible. It's so far away, right? So it's technically, I guess, if you look at the minimap, it's kind of like your third base, but it's a mile away from the main. So he connected the bases with creep now. That is going to make life a little easier. The problem is that Cyan has literally double the worker count. He's even going for a fourth nexus, likewise on the mirrored location with the golden minerals. And I mean, he is going to start attacking right now with whatever he's got. He goes into a robo facility here. He could go into Blink if he wants to. He can play this out normally if he wants to, but I don't really think he needs to.
No, I don't really think so, as our Zealots are going to come in on a couple of sides. We just continue to push forward as Cyan. He is just going to send it, and honestly, why not? If he's got the numbers, then great. Reinforcements are showing up, though, and that might make Cyan think twice about his decision. Still, though, he's killed 7 drones in this whole process. Still has more Zealots arriving. I just don't think it's necessarily going to be enough. And Cyan seems to think so as well, but which is fine. We're about to have +2 against no upgrades. We're about to have a robo in play. We're taking our own gold base. I think we're fine here as Cyan. The most important part is he doesn't throw away too much, and I honestly don't think he did.
No, he was trying to swarm the Zerg, right? That's always an interesting decision. I mean, 20 workers is not a whole lot of workers already, so he is just trying to see if he can potentially end this game. Now the Zealots are dragging this entire Roach Zergling army all the way back home. I mean, the problem here for Silky is that there really is no way out other than his opponent throwing away too many units, right? So that is why he's chasing this to the best of his abilities. But even now with these Zealots going down, they're getting decent value. And in the meantime, we've got an Immortal coming up, Sentries and Zealots on the production tab. I think this is all very, very solid here for Cyan, who now even has the golden minerals available himself.
Yep. There's really not much else to add on this one, man. I mean, Cyan is just looking absolutely spot on for the moment, so this is looking great. This is looking good. I can't really say anything else, man. This is just looking as though this is all about Cyan. Obviously up 1-0 in the series as well, looking to make this a 2-0 advantage, which is obviously going to be big.
Absolutely. He's going to try and push down towards this low ground. Now there is a photon cannon and a third shield battery coming up. He realizes there's really no way of getting it done. So Silky decides to rip off the band-aid himself. It's going to be Cyan who obtains the victory 2-0.